Kind question, Hallie, and appreciate your putting a bright smile on it. Listen, it's up to the voters. It is up to the people of Indiana. It is up to the men and women of this state. I will say this. This morning, Donald Trump went on national television and attacked my father. Donald Trump alleges that my dad was involved in assassinating JFK. Now, let's be clear. This is nuts. This is not a reasonable position. This is just kooky. And while I'm at it, I guess I should go ahead and admit, yes, my dad killed JFK. He is secretly Elvis, and Jimmy Hoffa is buried in his backyard. You know, Donald's source for this is the National Enquirer. The National Enquirer is tabloid trash, but it's run by his good friend David Pecker, the CEO, who's endorsed Donald Trump. And so the National Enquirer has become his hit piece that he uses to smear anybody and everybody. And this is not the first time. Donald Trump has used David Pecker's National Enquirer to go after my family. It was also the National Enquirer that went after my wife, Heidi, that just spread lies, blatant lies. But I guess Donald was dismayed because it was a couple of weeks ago the Enquirer wrote this idiotic story about JFK. And Donald was dismayed that the folks in the media weren't repeating this latest idiocy, so he figured he'd have to do it himself. He'd have to go on national television and accuse my dad of that. Listen, my father has been my hero my whole life. My dad was imprisoned and tortured in Cuba, and when he came to America, he had nothing. He had $100 in his underwear. He washed dishes making 50 cents an hour. You know, he's exactly the kind of person Donald Trump looks down on. I'm going to do something I haven't done for the entire campaign. For those of y'all who have traveled with me all across the country, I'm going to tell you what I really think of Donald Trump. This man is a pathological liar. He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth. And in a pattern that I think is straight out of a psychology textbook, his response is to accuse everybody else of lying. He accuses everybody on that debate stage of lying. And it's simply a mindless yell. Whatever he does, he accuses everyone else of doing. The man cannot tell the truth, but he combines it with being a narcissist. A narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever seen. Donald Trump is such a narcissist that Barack Obama looks at him and goes, "Dude, what's your problem?" Everything in Donald's world is about Donald. And he combines being a pathological liar. And I say pathological because I actually think Donald, if you hooked him up to a lie detector test, he could say one thing in the morning, one thing at noon, and one thing in the evening, all contradictory, and he'd pass the lie detector test each time. Whatever lie he's telling, at that minute, he believes it. But the man is utterly amoral. Let me finish this, please. The man is utterly amoral. Morality does not exist for him. It's why he went after Heidi directly and smeared my wife, attacked her. Apparently, she's not pretty enough for Donald Trump. I may be biased, but I think if he's making that allegation, he's also legally blind. But Donald is a bully. You know, we just visited with fifth graders. Every one of us knew bullies in elementary school. Bullies don't come from strength. Bullies come from weakness. Bullies come from a deep, yawning cavern of insecurity. There is a reason Donald builds giant buildings and puts his name on them everywhere he goes. And I will say, there are millions of people in this country who are angry. They're angry at Washington. They're angry at politicians who've lied to them. I understand that anger. I share that anger. And Donald is cynically exploiting that anger. And he is lying to his supporters. Donald will betray his supporters on every issue. If you care about immigration, Donald is laughing at you. And he's telling the moneyed elites he doesn't believe what he's saying. He's not going to build a wall. That's what he told the New York Times. He will betray you on every issue across the board. And his strategy of being a bully, in particular, is directed at women. Donald has a real problem with women. People who are insecure. People who are insecure about who they are. Donald is terrified by strong women. He lashes out at them. Remember, this is the same Donald Trump who last week here in Indiana proudly touted the endorsement from Mike Tyson, a convicted rapist who served 3 years in prison here in Indiana for raping a 17-year-old girl. And in Donald's world, he said Mike Tyson was a tough guy. I don't think rapists are tough guys. I spent a lot of years in law enforcement dealing with rapists. Rapists are weak, they are cowards, and they're bullies. And anyone that thinks they're a tough guy, that reveals everything about Donald Trump's character. Donald Trump said Bill Clinton was targeted by unattractive women. You know what? I've been blessed to be surrounded by strong women my entire life. Today is voting day here in Indiana. The President of the United States has a bully pulpit unlike anybody else. The President of the United States affects our culture. I ask the people of Indiana, think about the next 5 years. If this man were to become president, think about the next 5 years. The boasting, the pathological lying, the picking up the National Enquirer and accusing people of killing JFK, the bullying. Think about your kids coming back and emulating this. For people in Indiana who long for a day when we were nice to each other, when we treated people with respect, when we didn't engage in sleaze and lies. And I would know one of the lies he engages in. Listen, Donald Trump is a serial philanderer, and he boasts about it. This is not a secret. He's proud of being a serial philanderer. I want everyone to think about your teenage kids. The President of the United States talks about how great it is to commit adultery, how proud he is. Describes his battles with venereal disease as his own personal Vietnam. That's a quote, by the way, on the Howard Stern show. Do you want to spend the next 5 years with your kids bragging about infidelity? Now, what does he do? He does the same projection. Just like a pathological liar, he accuses everyone of lying. Even though he boasts about his infidelity, he plants in David Pecker's National Enquirer a lie about me and my family, attacking my family. He accuses others of doing what he is doing. I'll tell you, as the father of 2 young girls, the idea of our daughters coming home and repeating any word that man says horrifies me. That is not who America is. And I would say to the Hoosier State, the entire country is depending on you. The entire country is looking to you right now. It is only Indiana that can pull us back. It is only the good sense and good judgment of Indiana that can pull us back. We are staring at the abyss. And I have incredible faith in Hoosiers.
Why isn't your message resonating with people here then? If you were up 2 weeks ago, Trump is up 15 points now. You're saying all these things about him.
All right, looks like the transmission there cut out a little early, but I think we heard quite a lot. If there was any question of what Ted Cruz thought of his rival Donald Trump, I think it's been answered. Words like, this man is a pathological liar, the biggest narcissist ever, utterly amoral, a serial philanderer. That's just a little bit of what we just heard. I think we have the signal back. Let's listen back in.
There is a broader dynamic at work, which is network executives have made a decision to get behind Donald Trump. Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes at Fox News have turned Fox News into the Donald Trump network. 24/7. Now, Rupert Murdoch is used to picking world leaders in Australia and the United Kingdom, running tabloids. And we're seeing it here at home with the consequences for this nation. Media executives are trying to convince Hoosiers, trying to convince Americans the race is decided. You have no choice. You are stuck between Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, either one of which is a horrific choice for this country. And I will say the cynicism, and Donald's playing on the cynicism. He lets the media echoes that he cannot be beat. You know what? Hoosiers can prove that wrong. The people of Indiana can prove that wrong. And the country is depending on Indiana. If Indiana does not act, this country could well plunge into the abyss. I don't believe that's who we are. We are not a proud, boastful, self-centered, mean-spirited, hateful, bullying nation. If you want to understand Donald Trump, look no further than the interview he did a few months ago in Iowa, when he was asked a very simple question. When's the last time you asked God for forgiveness? And Donald Trump said he had never asked God for forgiveness for anything. I want you to think about that. What does that say about a person? I've asked God for forgiveness 3 times today. Think about your children. Do you want your children coming home and saying, Mommy, I don't need to ask God for forgiveness for anything? Why? Because Donald Trump doesn't. And if he doesn't, and everyone likes him, all the media praises him, I don't need to either. I love this nation with all my heart. I love the people of this country. This is not who we are. These are not our values. If anyone has seen the movie Back to the Future 2, the screenwriter says that he based the character Biff Tannen on Donald Trump. A caricature of a braggadocious, arrogant buffoon who builds giant casinos with giant pictures of him everywhere he looks. We are looking, potentially, at the Biff Tannen presidency. I don't think the people of America want that. I don't think we deserve that. I don't think Hoosiers want that.
Senator, these are some of the strongest words you've used against Donald Trump yet. You know I've been with you. I've heard you talk about him. Today feels different for you. So I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to say I sound like a broken record, and you're going to say that Donald Trump cannot
get to 1237. If you sound like a broken record, someone else have a question?
But Senator, why
You've
not
asked
say
one already, Hallie. You've asked
will
already.
you support him as the nominee? I don't understand why you won't answer the question, Senator. If you say he's a liar, Jess, I'm sorry, but if you say he's a pathological liar, and you say that you can't...
Hallie, you've asked one already.
But why not definitively
go ahead,
say
Jessica.
Senator, when you talk about Midwestern values and the common sense and the good judgment, if Indiana Hoosiers don't pick you today, does that make you reconsider things in a different way than when the Northeast voted and you could say that was Trump's neighbors voting?
Listen, there is no doubt this Indiana primary has national significance. The media is trying desperately to convince you it's over. I'll tell you, if Hoosiers come out today and vote, if you pick up the phone and you call your friends, you call your neighbors, if Hoosiers come out today and vote and say no, this is not who we are, this is not America, that will change the entire trajectory of this campaign, of this primary. It will pull us back from the cliff. Indiana can do it. Indiana can pull us back, but it takes Hoosiers showing up and voting today. And the country is looking to Indiana, is looking to the judgment of the good men and women of this state. Heidi and I and Carly, we have traveled this state showing Hoosiers respect, asking for their support, answering their questions, all the while Donald Trump laughs at the people of this state. Laughs, bullies, attacks, insults. I don't believe that's America. And it is my hope It is my prayer that Hoosiers will come out and vote today in record numbers to say to this country, this is not who we are. We are a people who believe in goodness. We are a people who believe in manners. We are a people who believe in generosity. We are a people who believe in honesty. We are a people who believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is America. That is the America I love. It's the America my father fled Cuba to come to. We're fighting for this nation. We're fighting for who we are, for the very soul and character of this nation. And it is quite literally in the hands of Hoosiers across this state.
But what if they don't
Thank
pick
you.
you? Senator, if they don't pick you, what does that say about Indiana?